Welcome to Versus Battlecast. In this week's episode, we will unleash a triple threat with Virtua Fighter 3, Dead or Alive 2 and Tekken 3, go down with memory lane with Kung Fu Master, and find out who took the crown on episode 4. Virtua Fighter 3 is the third game in AM2's flagship 3D fighting series. Spearheaded by Yu Suzuki, AM2 revolutionized the 3D fighting genre with Virtua Fighter 2, and they evolved the genre to the next level with the sequel. Released in 1996, Virtua Fighter 3 is, without a doubt, a vast evolutionary leap ahead of its already excellent predecessor. Being uniquely engrossing and technologically advanced at the same time, Virtua Fighter 3, or VF3, established itself as a gleaming example of the exceptional creative talent of the Japanese gaming industry. AM2 unveiled VF3, their flagship title for Sega's newly released Model 3 arcade hardware at the AOU show in Japan. The audience watched in awe as previously unseen levels of technical mastery and artistic flair were demonstrated on hardware which totally wiped the floor with anything Sega's competitors had to offer. In fact, the reaction was so positive that it resulted with VF3 headlining as the top story in gaming publications, and many arcade vendors immediately set up a pre-order for Sega's latest showstopper. Later that year, Sega presented the same demonstration at the E3 show in the US, and just like Japan, the sheer spectacle of the demo was spellbinding to all who saw it. As fans of Virtua Fighter will attest, VF3 is one of the deepest 3D fighting games you will ever play. Built upon an intricate rock-paper-scissors style game system, which we will refer to as RPS, the VF3 engine bestowed the player with all the tools needed to provide a solution to any possible combat situation. Through careful reading of the opponent's actions, playstyle and counter choice, the skilled VF3 player can construct a multi-tiered mind game. Carefully leading the opponent down a path of choices and covering against outcomes which may occur, as well as ones which actually do occur, are skills the top VF3 player possesses in abundance. Most fighting games operate at a base level with the RPS system. Attacking, blocking and throwing operates in a very similar fashion to the traditional rock-paper-scissors game. To that equation, VF3 adds an additional layer to the RPS mind game with the evades button, which allows you to slip past an incoming blow and gain an opportunity to land a counter-attack. The results of this inclusion, combined with the updated hit reaction system, change the game's mechanics into a rapid multi-layered chess game that allows the player to plan several offense and defensive strategies within each and every situation. This type of planning upon a plan creates an incredible display of mind games when you see two elite level players in battle. When you consider the sheer amount of commands and back and forth strategies in a high level game, it's clear that VF3 is possibly one of the fastest and mentally intensive 3D fighting game on any system. When VF3 finally arrived in the arcades, the reaction from the community was nothing short of breathtaking. Back then, there were so many occasions where large groups of fighting gamers gathered around their local VF3 arcade machine, either enjoying the action or waiting in line to play the game. Unfortunately, after several months of play over in the Western world, the once overly excited community slowly started to realize the complexities of the game, which resulted in gamers highlighting how they found the game difficult to manage. This negativity quickly spread throughout the communities that sadly caused a disproportionate number of gamers to become dismissive of the game. On a more positive note, the situation was and still is completely different in the Eastern world, especially in Japan. Dubbed Virtua Fighter Land, VF3 was a forefronting game in nearly every Japanese arcade. What made the difference in this case is down to the culture, as the community of gamers in Japan are constantly involved in a highly competitive and transparent background filled with experienced gamers who are willing to share ideas, educate others and forge new friendships. This culture generated good games and skilled players who are capable of appreciating them, which is the perfect environment for the VF community to thrive. When VF3 was released as the Dreamcast launch title in Japan, the attention it gained from the community was staggering, as the game sold nearly 98,000 copies in 1 week, which is a commendable achievement considering Virtua Fighter 5 was a launch title for the PlayStation 3 but sold 50,000 copies less within the same time. The Dreamcast version of Virtua Fighter 3 was ported by Genki, the same team that made incredible games such as Shotoko Highway Battle. Considering Genki only had a few months to complete the project, they did a great job as it had to reprogram the Model 3 game to make it compatible with the Naomi arcade hardware before optimizing and porting the code over to the Dreamcast. The results were not perfect, as quadratic polygons were used instead of triangular and squared polygons. Shaders were heavily used in place of key textures, the polygon count for each character had to be reduced, and the stage backgrounds are missing that polished touch, but despite this, the game still looked faithful to the original arcade version. If you want to witness the cream of the crop of Virtua Fighter players, then you could do no better than to attend a VF tournament in Japan. With Japan and Korea leading the way in elite level play, the numerous and frequent local and national events widely attracted gamers and non-gamers alike. The Western world wasn't completely outdone, for the VF community frequently hosted many VF3 tournaments and showcased some spectacular levels of play. Riding the hype at the time, even the famous UK TV show Games Master joined the festivities as the host of the first UK Virtua Fighter Tetsujin Challenge, where Japanese elite player Takashi Satani held off 100 hand-picked UK gamers in a one-episode special. The airing of the program resulted in a mass pandemonium of positive reactions, which made the show one of many gamers' fondest memories.
Here's opponent number 40 and opponent number 60.
Over the years, the VF community in Japan and Korea continued to grow, putting in new players both male and female alike. With VF3 headlining at the main event in many competitions, fans had plenty of reasons to keep on playing the game. Unfortunately, the situation was, and still is, completely opposite in the West, as many mainstream Western gamers opted for Tekken and Dead or Alive series as a 3D fighting game of choice. However, despite the mainstream audience preference, millions of gamers of VF fans around the world relished every iteration of their beloved series, all while aiming to continue to look for new ways of pushing the franchise genre forward. Dead or Alive 2 is the stellar sequel to Tecmo's award-winning 3D fighting game, Dead or Alive. First released on Sega's Naomi arcade hardware in 1999, followed by the Sega Dreamcast and the PlayStation 2 version in the year 2000, Tecmo's talented developer, Team Ninja, produced a game which appealed for fighting game fans and the mainstream gamers alike. Dead or Alive 2 expanded and evolved the play mechanics of the original game, which was released on Sega's Model 2 arcade hardware in 1996. Utilizing the Virtua Fighter 2 graphics engine created by Sega's AM2, the visually impressive Dead or Alive also boasted some unique selling points which made it stand out from the crowd, such as the hold button, which allows for seamless counter hits and reversal against incoming attacks, a cast of busty female characters with the animation of their breasts inspired by SNK's fighting game series Fatal Fury, and interactive danger zones which would inflict additional damage to your opponent on contact. Dead or Alive barely generated any interest in the arcades, but thanks to the amazing graphics, it became a massive hit when it arrived on the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation, which established a solid foundation for the future of the franchise. The unveiling of Dead or Alive 2 at the Japan AOU show in 1999 caused gamers and medias alike to hail the game as the most stunning title on Sega's Dreamcast-based Nomi arcade hardware. Surprisingly, despite the extremely positive initial showing, Dead or Alive 2's reception at the arcades fell far below expectations, and the title failed to generate sufficient revenue for Tecmo. The reason this failure occurred was due to the arcade operators not being willing to invest in a new game with an imminent home console release, and the potential audience was stretched thin across other fighting games such as Virtua Fighter 3, Tekken 3, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Although Dead or Alive 2 reception at the arcade was mostly disappointing, the coin immediately flipped to Tecmo's favour when the game launched on the Dreamcast and PlayStation 2. The launch was successful due to the high market awareness of the game, which was the result of continuous positive PR coverage and high review scores provided by the gaming media. Other than graphics, Dead or Alive 2 contained many key features that made the game instantly compelling to its target audience and differentiated the title from its competitors. Features such as a tag team battle mode that allowed for instant switching of characters at any time during the match, the ability to knock an opponent off on a platform in a multi-tiered stage, and the ability to walk in any direction in the environment were some of the features, other than the female character's seductive assets, that caught the interest of the fans. To make the game more intuitive and faster than the first Dead or Alive, Team Ninja improved the ability to stagger or launch your opponent and replaced the reversal system from the first game with a high, mid and low counter system. Like the Virtua Fighter series, the game uses a high, medium and low attacking and blocking system, but considering most of the key moves are either high or low, the seldom use of the mid-level offense make the game far easier to play and counter-attacks very easy to judge. When you consider the destructive power and ease of execution of a counter-attack, which allowed lesser skilled players to inflict heavy damage easily, it was a mechanic that highly skilled players did not appreciate. The game still requires time to learn each character, although they are not heavily differentiated as compared to other top fighting games such as Tekken 3. Nonetheless, this is Itagaki-san's intention, as he wanted to create a game that offered a gentle learning curve that provided a rewarding experience for gamers that wished to master each character. What's interesting to hear that according to Tomonobu Itagaki, the Dead or Alive series creator, the first PlayStation 2 version of the game released in Japan is not the complete version he had envisioned. Reported from the 2012 DICE Summit, he informed attendees that the game was actually an unapproved port created within 2.5 months to coincide with the Dreamcast version launch. Understandably, the release of the unapproved game caused Itagaki-san to become deeply frustrated. This prompted him to quickly enter negotiations with Tecmo's executives, requesting permission to complete the game as he originally envisioned for the PlayStation 2. After successful negotiations, Itagaki-san and his team released Dead or Alive Hardcore for the PlayStation 2, which contained extra moves, cutscenes, stages, and Bayman from the first game. Not wanting to leave the Dreamcast users feeling short-changed, Tecmo also released Dead or Alive 2 Limited Edition, which features some of the new stages and cutscenes from the PlayStation 2 version, together with a brand new stage and costumes. In all, there were 5 different versions of Dead or Alive 2, and all of them generated high sales, which is quite telling of how popular the game has become around the world. In the hearts of Dead or Alive fans, Dead or Alive 2 was the pinnacle of the series because they believed the sequels, Dead or Alive 3 and 4, were only marginal updates to the second game. Although this realization caused interest in the series to deteriorate, thanks to the numerous releases, Tecmo and Team Ninja already captured a large percentage of the general games market, which provides the company a safety net to forecast higher revenues for every new Dead or Alive game release. Whether that market was sold by the series' patronizing adolescent male fantasy of improbably busty females, or by its flamboyant fighting action, it is safe to say that when Dead or Alive 5 arrives later this year, Tecmo will push the game as the #1 fighting title for this generation.
Get ready, fight!
If you are searching for one of the most fun, creative and entertaining fighting games of the mid-90s, they look no further than the pinnacle of the Tekken series, Tekken 3. Thanks to the phenomenal global popularity of the prequels, Namco were able to release Tekken 3 in the arcades with great success despite minimal promotion. Running on an inexpensive JAMA-compliant System 12 hardware, which is compatible with just about any arcade cabinet, Tekken 3 required very little financial investment from the arcade operators and quickly became a dominant title in venues around the world. The arrival of Tekken 3 generated an incredible fever-like reception. In fact, the fever was so strong, it caused hundreds of gamers to skip college and university classes so they could take a sneak peek at the game in their nearest arcade. Back in those days, Tekken 3 was a hot topic among gamers. Whenever you went to the arcades, more so than Virtua Fighter 3, you were sure to find many people surrounding the machine, either waiting in line to play the game, watching the exciting action, or feeling the groove with the incredible soundtrack. The hype surrounding the game was so strong that it instantly created a community spirit among players who shared their findings and battle experience with other members of the group. Namco cited that it was thanks to Virtua Fighter 2, a game that the internal development team deeply admired and avidly played, they were able to create a Tekken game that revolutionized the series. Tekken 3 boasted a series of gameplay enhancements such as the ability to instantly recover from a knockdown, the ability to sidestep incoming attack, which strangely was a feature that trailed off in terms of tactical priority as the series progressed, an updated physics engine that allowed for elaborated, manageable and creative floating combos and more freedom when moving your characters around the screen, and a realistic motion capture animations for flamboyant gameplay. Combined with lots of new moves that caused many gamers to play with a notepad at hand, Tekken 3 offered secret characters, highly accessible gameplay with a light learning curve, and a solid game system. While not being the most in-depth fighter, Namco's title succeeded as the general fighters gamers of choice for both tournament and solo play in the West. When Tekken 3 launched on the PlayStation in 1998, the release put the hype and excitement into overdrive. The launch of the game worldwide led to incredible sales with more than 6 million units, doubling the efforts of Tekken 2. The timing couldn't be better for high sales, but it was a period where gamers cared a great deal about graphics and how similar or perfect they were to the arcade. Since the arcade version of Tekken 3 operates on the System 12 arcade board, which is basically the PlayStation architecture, porting a game on the PlayStation was a straightforward process. For Europe, because most televisions operated on a 50Hz power signal, the European version of Tekken 3 ran 17.5% slower than the NTSC version of the game. Because of this, Tekken 3 became one of the most highly sought after import games, with purists spending in excess of £100, which is around €120 or $160 for a copy. Sony and Namco pulled out all the stops promoting Tekken 3 as the PlayStation's killer app, for the game featured in every major gaming event worldwide. When it came to tournaments, it was practically a bi-monthly event of international and national expeditions, giving Tekken fans and gamers alike plenty of opportunity to test their wits against each other. The biggest tournaments were the Tekken 3 Final Showdown Battle that was hosted at Playmax Shinjuku in Japan, and the Tekken 3 World Tournament that was hosted at Namco Station in London, UK. The World Tournament in London consisted of 18 international contestants representing their country and 32 selected contestants who successfully made the tournament roster.
It's a great game. You can tell by the turnout here, it has got a great following.
Playing Tekken, you don't even see your own character. You just concentrate on the other characters and you see what they're going to do and you counter it. Tekken is superb. Namco invited me to come down to enter the competition and I came down as their representative.
I for one only play Nina, so I was here to prove that my Nina was the best.
Tekken 3 helped turn the PlayStation from a simple games console to a fashion statement. But with in-game assets wearing thin, and considering powerful rivals like Virtua Fighter 3 and Dead or Alive 2, we should ask ourselves whether Tekken 3 really was the best 3D fighting game of that generation.
It was easy as pie.
He got this one, but the next one is mine.
The most debatable subjective argument arrives in trying to determine which out of Last Bronx and Soul Edge is the better game. To make the decision, cinematic intros and other aesthetic icing are not considered, as it's the game's gameplay that will keep you coming back for one more go. This is the aspect in which we will focus. Thanks to our expert panel of the gamers and the numerous responses that we have received from you, the audience, we can now end this age-old battle by announcing the winner. The gamers and panel have spoken. When placed at gunpoint, Last Bronx is the better game when compared to Soul Edge. Last Bronx victory was marginal, for Soul Edge's aesthetic appeal, solid gameplay, and original characters made the game a formidable contender. However, beautiful as Soul Edge is, in reality, the general interest for playing the game after a few months quickly wears thin. At the end of the day, it's all about the gameplay, and this is one area where Last Bronx excels. All the fights in Last Bronx are fast, brutal and intense, and what makes the game so special is that it allows you to fight strategically thanks to the retraction and rolling mechanics. Every attack you perform in Last Bronx can be retracted before it connects. This allows you to instantly cancel an attack midway through its animation in order to lead to a different attack. This mechanic allows players to bluff their actions, leading to complex mix-up sequences to outwit the opponent. Together with a high, mid and low blocking system, Last Bronx gameplay mechanic leads to some incredibly fast-paced battles that are full of quick setups, mind game trickery, and bone-crunching combinations. To get to this level of play as demonstrated in the videos, it is crucial to realize the key opportunities and ways to counter and potentially confuse your opponent. Here are some quick examples using Joe that should help you improve your gameplay. If you perform a backwards roundhouse kick, press the block button immediately after the move executes to turn it into a bluff. Then follow up with a quick attack that will either knock down your opponent or launch them in preparation for an air juggle. Practice giving your opponents false messages by frequently bluffing your attacks. That way, you can surprise them with a sneak attack once they become gullible to your red herrings. If your opponent continues to the attack, break their flow by performing a basic low attack, or counter by performing a roll-time forward roll, then strike hard while your opponent is still locked in attack animation. Use the attack traction technique to extend your air juggle sequences. With its accessible and logical gameplay system, Last Bronx is a fun game to play. Once you understand this system, you will immediately appreciate the mechanical depth which puts the title ahead of Soul Edge. We are now going to have a short break and a message from our sponsors, but before we go, it's time for a music quiz. Can you guess which game the music playing in the background belongs to? Find out the answer in the second half of Versus Battlecast. Welcome to the second half of Versus Battlecast.
Do a barrel roll. What up? What up?
If venturing into the Devil's Temple and battling hordes of martial arts wielding killers get your gaming juices flowing, you will certainly get your kicks from Kung Fu Master from Irem Corporation. Released back in 1984 for Irem's M62 arcade hardware, Kung Fu Master is considered the first side-scrolling beat-em-up, and its influence can still be felt to this day. Providing a player with multiple physical attacks with different ranges, the heights and properties became the core aspect for all modern fighting games. Kung Fu Master is based upon an unfinished Bruce Lee film titled The Game of Death, which Irem has cited in various interviews with the Japanese media. Similar to the Game of Death movie, the hero of Kung Fu Master must fight his way up through a 5-story pagoda in order to reach his goal, in this case, the rescue of his kidnapped girlfriend. On each floor, guarding the stairway to the next level, is a powerful martial artist. Defeating these progressively tougher opponents in battle is the only way forward. Simple as it sounds, the original arcade is actually really challenging to the temperamental unresponsive controls that sometimes goes against your favour, but thanks to the brilliance of the gaming community didn't care about this flaw. Several months prior to the release of Kung Fu Master in Japan, an action comedy movie called Kwaiganji, or Wheels and Meals in the Western audience, or Spartan X for the Japanese release, was making headlines in China and Hong Kong. Produced by Paragon Films and starring Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, and Yuan Biao, the movie is about 3 brave men who mingled in the affairs of a beautiful woman who is then kidnapped by her evil stepbrother. The reason for her kidnapping was that she is the heir to her dead father's riches, and if she doesn't make the claim within 2 weeks of his death, their inheritance would go to her stepbrother. Because Jackie Chan is extremely popular in Japan, Irem decided that in order to boost the popularity of Kung Fu Master, it would best to tie the game with the movie. To that effect, Irem immediately contacted Paragon Films, who then contacted Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan authorized Irem to use the Spartan X name at no cost other than the condition that they must use his face for the game's promotions and they must assist with the movie's promotion. With the greatest of admiration, respect and love for Jackie Chan, Irem agreed and immediately changed the title of Kung Fu Master to Spartan X. They also changed the name of the hero and his girlfriend to Thomas and Sylvia to tie in with the movie, and ran promotional campaigns for both the game and the movie. In December 1989, Irem launched Vigilante, the spiritual successor to Kung Fu Master for Irem's M75 arcade board. Vigilante plays similar to Irem's original hit game Kung Fu Master, but with Jackie Chan as the star instead of Bruce Lee. Set in a brutal urban environment, the player must make use of weapons and masterful kung fu techniques in order to save the hero's girlfriend, Madonna, from the skinheads. Vigilante was an okay game compared to Kung Fu Master, but unfortunately, Irem released the game far too late to establish commercial success in the arcades. This was because their competitor launched a wave of incredible titles which significantly raised the bar prior to Vigilante's release. Examples of these incredible titles which made headlines in the gaming media and gained significant worldwide fan base were Capcom's Final Fight and Sega's Golden Axe, which were both released in 1989, and the reigning king of scrolling beat-em-ups, Double Dragon, which was released in 1987. From this, Irem experienced great difficulty competing in the fighting market due to the lost opportunity to capitalize in a genre pioneered by the original hit, Kung Fu Master. The ability to move your character quickly and freely around the environment is the most important skill to learn in BF3. Elite players such as Akira Kid use their sequential series of movements to keep his character in a state of constant shifting motion. In this section, we will teach you that advanced technique which will give you a distinct tactical advantage in battle. Dashing is a very important maneuver in BF3 as there are many situations you need to be quick to follow through with an attack or an exploit and counter-attack opportunity. To perform an evade dash, you have to press forward or backwards plus the evade button at the same time to quickly step towards or away from your opponent. To gain a good grasp of the movement, practice shifting back and forth using quick and tight motions. This is one of the most effective techniques for moving your character quickly in or out of your opponent's attack range. Dash and evade is an essential component for performing the Korean step, and it provides a distinct advantage of making the user appear highly unpredictable in combat. To perform this technique, execute the evade dash, then press the evade button immediately afterwards. Note that pressing the evade button by itself will make your character move up the screen, so if you need to move down the screen, you have to press down and the evade button at the same time. Evade running is a handy technique you can use in many situations, especially if you require some distance between you and your opponent, or you need to rush into your opponent to exploit an opening. To perform this technique, press and hold the direction you want to run together with the evade button at the same time. Note that evade running is faster than normal running, which is vital for saving you a few frames of animation that can make all the difference in a match. Crouch dash is the most important technique to learn in preparation for the Korean step. Although it looks like a little hop from a crouched position, one of the key functions is that it allows you to cancel your evade movement so you can move more freely and quickly around the environment. To pull off the crouch dash, press diagonal down forward twice, but make sure you hold the direction on the second press, otherwise it won't work. In addition, using this step gives you the ability to avoid high attacks while advancing towards your opponent, which is an excellent way to get free throws or strikes. Diagonal step is extremely handy if you require a continuous string of evades. The great thing about this move is that it can be repeated as many times as you wish, as the evade animation is cancelled by the crouch dash. To perform the diagonal step, you have to execute the crouch dash, then immediately press the evade button. Inputting a command for another crouch dash after your evade input will cancel the evade animation. In order to perform this technique multiple times, be sure to buffer the crouch dash command during the evade animation so that the animation cancels mid-flow, allowing you to repeat the sequence without delay. This is the moment of truth. If you feel you have mastered step 1 to 5, then you are ready to move on to the Korean step, which encompasses the 5 steps that you have practiced. To perform the Korean step, you have to execute step 1 to 5 in a specific pattern, and a flowchart will give you the best idea of how to go about it. Let's have a closer look at the chart and explore a practical example. To begin the Korean step, let's assume that your character is in a standing position. From this position, activate step 1 to make your character dash forward, then immediately go to step 2. Now on step 2, which is dash and evade, we can move on to step 3. Then once you perform step 3, go back to step 5 to cancel your character's movement before reverting to step 1. If you try to go to step 1 directly from step 3, then the Korean step will stop and your character will temporarily stand still. As you can see in this video, Aoi is performing the steps pattern as highlighted in the Korean step chart. It may look like she is performing a larger number of moves. By naturality, her movements are quite simple when you break the sequence down. Here you can see that Aoi went from step 2 to cancelling her movements with step 4, then back to step 2 to evade Leon's attack, then back to step 4 to follow through with an attack of her own. Now she went from step 1 to step 5, activating multiple times to evade Leon's kick before following through with another attack. Once you have mastered the Korean step, your skills will exponentially increase due to your greater understanding of the game's mechanics.
Fight 1. Ready, go! Fight 2. Ready, go! KO!
Virtua Fighter 3, Dead or Alive 2 and Tekken 3 are 3 incredible titles that everyone should have in their library. Although 2 of the titles are great at giving people their money's worth in terms of variety and features, it's the gameplay that will determine whether you keep on playing or leave the game gathering dust. Now it's time to see our expert crew in action to decide which fighter should take the crown.
Fight 1. Ready, go!
Get ready, fight!
Ready, go! Out of the ring! Fight 2! Ready, go! Fight 1. Ready, go!